Right now on News 3, the public gets its first chance to weigh in on a new proposed casino in Rock County.
Plus, police say a race between high school students likely caused a deadly crash when a teen drove into another car going at least 80 miles an hour.
And a first-of-its-kind treatment, how a local recovery center is taking a new approach to opioid addiction.
This is News 3 at 10.
Thank you for joining us tonight. The Ho-Chunk Nation is nearing the final steps that would allow them to build a casino in Beloit.
The Bureau of Indian Affairs wrapped up a public meeting tonight where people who live in Beloit could give their feedback. New tonight at 10, Amy Reed shows us what they had to say.
Public opinion for a proposed 139,000 square foot casino in Beloit was largely positive tonight, with nearly an hour of back-to-back comments in favor of the development.
The reason the city of Beloit has been so unanimously supportive of this project is the economic benefit. There are over 1,500 permanent jobs, and those would provide jobs not only to our region, but also across the state line. Clearly, that is a number of new jobs, and that will really be very positive for everyone.
The development would be in a lot next to I-3990. Along with a casino, the Ho-Chunk Nation hopes to build a 300-room hotel, a 40,000 square foot water park, and a convention center, though alternatives could scale that back if necessary.
It's been a long time coming. We're extremely excited about today. It's a long process, this whole Feed a Trust process, but we're here today. We're excited. I think there's new life amongst the tribal members and the communities that we represent. So tonight is a real special day for us.
The Bureau of Indian Affairs went over the project to start the meeting.
I'm concerned about the temptations and addictions,
but quickly turned things over to the people.
Pluses far outweigh the minuses.
A number of leaders in the city spoke of economic benefits, but a handful said those don't outweigh the moral negatives of bringing gambling to the area.
I've had personal experience with people that are so addicted to gambling that they've lost their job, they've lost their family, they've lost their place to live.
After the comments are read through by the Bureau, the final form of the project will move to Governor-elect Evers' desk to be signed, something he's supported in the past. And the Ho-Chunk Nation is ready for the moment that happens.
When he says yes, we're going to be ready to put shovels to the ground.
Public comment for this is open until Christmas Eve, and we'll put a link on our website for you to check out if you want to submit anything.
All right, Amy Reed reporting tonight. Amy, thank you. Keeping an eye on some wintry weather heading our way.
There is a winter weather advisory for tomorrow morning, and those conditions are prompting a weather alert day. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti. He's on the backyard patio with our first alert forecast. Gary?
You know, it's not for heavy snow or anything like that. In fact, snow accumulations will probably be an inch or less in most areas, but there's also the possibility that there could be some light freezing rain mixed in. So because of that, we do have an alert day in the forecast for tomorrow. Precipitation beginning late tonight, lasting mainly through tomorrow morning. By early tomorrow afternoon, most of it should be over with. Winter weather advisories are in effect starting at 3 a.m. for Madison and Dane County and areas to the west and south into northern Illinois, to the north and east of Dane County, up into Columbia County, Dodge County over toward Beaver Dam, and west or east into Jefferson County around Jefferson, and including Milwaukee. Winter weather advisory from 6 a.m. until noon tomorrow. Snow potential, just in the process of updating right now, but still the computer models have been showing about a ½ inch of precipitation here in Madison, maybe up to an inch or two north of Wisconsin Dells. On Doppler track, you can see some light precipitation over Minnesota, mainly in the form of snow right now. Some precipitation trying to break out in northern Iowa and central Wisconsin, but right now southern Wisconsin is precipitation free. High temperatures today, lower 30s from Madison southward to the north. Temperatures stayed in the 20s. Current temperatures are in the middle 20s. Here in Madison, we've gone up 2 degrees in the last hour, and notice those temperatures in the lower 30s to our south and west. We may actually see your temperatures go up another degree or two yet by tomorrow morning, even though the winds are brisk enough to drop wind chills into the teens. By tomorrow morning, look for temperatures to start out around 27 degrees. We'll see some light snow, possibly mixed with a little freezing rain through the morning hours. Most of that will be over with by early afternoon. The high temperature topping out at 34. That's your first alert forecast.
Gary, thank you. Madison police are giving us an update on the nightclub shooting at an East Side Gentlemen's Club. They say 3 customers and a Visions employee were shot early Sunday morning. Officers say 35-year-old Cole Foster was the shooter. He appeared in court for the first time today. His lawyer argued that he did not fire every shot and that he was acting in self-defense after he was stabbed multiple times. After multiple incidents near Visions, the gas station next door announced today it will be closing early. The Quick Trip on East Washington Avenue has been a 24-hour store, but it will close at 10 p.m. for the next 2 weeks and then at midnight after that.
3 people were killed today, at least 6 others seriously injured. It happened during a shooting spree at a Christmas market in eastern France, in Strasbourg, a city near the German border. The shooter said to still be on the run, but French authorities say they know who he is. They say he is on a watch list. A Virginia jury recommending a life sentence for James Fields Jr., the man who rammed his car into a crowd of counter-protesters at last year's white nationalist rally in Charlottesville. It's the same jury that convicted him of first-degree murder last week. The judge will review the jury's recommendation and hand down a final sentence in March. Fields still faces a federal trial for hate crimes.
A month after the Camp Fire first broke out in Northern California, 3 people remain unaccounted for and 85 people are confirmed dead. Of the 85 dead, 31 are tentatively identified, 50 positively identified. The Camp Fire burned through more than 153,000 acres after it broke out November 8th. It was contained 17 days later after becoming the deadliest and most destructive wildfire in California history. Workers are removing water and pumping fresh air into a non-operational coal mine in West Virginia as they search for 3 people stuck inside. State officials say one man crawled out of the mine on his own. He told rescue workers the others were still alive and gave details about where they were inside. The group was initially reported missing Saturday night after going on an ATV ride. In Rock County, a teen is accused of hitting and killing a woman while speeding away from school.
Police say he was going at least 80 miles per hour and was headed to an off-campus lunch at the time of the crash. Adam Duxter spoke with police today about how this daily race to lunch is impacting the community.
For many, lunch at Craig High School in Janesville means heading down to the cafeteria and taking the time to relax and eat. For others, it means racing down the halls, out of the building, and out of the parking lot.
By the time they get into their car, they're already amped up. It's just a process. They start going faster in their cars. They want to be the first in line.
Janesville police officer and school resource officer Brian Foster says roughly 400 students go off campus for lunch each day, but says the rush they're in is a problem.
I think it's been known for quite a long time that it's been a problem. I think people have tried to address it in numerous ways,
but have struggled to find a solution that works. Foster says he sees minor accidents in the Craig parking lot at least once a week.
Kids in their young minds, are invincible, and they got to go eat.
But at times, racing to lunch can go too far. In October, Ty Matijevich, a student from Parker High School, hit and killed the driver on Milton Avenue as he reached top speed of 83 miles an hour.
Sometimes those cars can be just like a bullet. Let's be honest, they kill.
Foster says sometimes parents are just as equal to blame.
There has to be some maturity and responsibility when you turn over the keys to your child. I don't think the district can solve it. It has to be parents. The parents of the kids, they're giving them the cars.
That's Adam Duxter reporting. If convicted, 17-year-old Ty Matijevich faces up to 10 years in prison and $25,000 in fines.
Governor Scott Walker says he's considering a veto of certain items in the series of bills passed by Republican lawmakers in that lame duck session last week. Democrats argue part of this plan is to strip the incoming governor and attorney general of some of their power. Talking to reporters today, the governor didn't specify what he might veto, says his legal team is now scouring those bills, but he says the idea that Governor-elect Evers will be stripped of certain powers is mostly hype and hysteria. Meanwhile, Governor-elect Evers and Lieutenant Governor-elect Mandela Barnes are traveling the state on a budget listening tour. Today, the first stop in Green Bay. Evers is already committed to making significant investments in public education. Other stops on this tour include Wausau, La Crosse, and Milwaukee. And tickets are now on sale to attend the Governor-elect's inauguration gala. They cost $35. Both he and the Lieutenant Governor will be sworn into office earlier that day with the black tie optional party that night at Monona Terrace.
A high-stakes sit-down between President Trump and Democratic leaders devolved into a heated Oval Office argument over border security today, and the whole thing played out in front of a national audience.
I am proud, and I'll tell you what, I am proud to shut down the government for border security, Chuck, because the people of this country don't want criminals and people that have lots of problems and drugs pouring into our country. So I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down. I'm not going to blame you for it. The last time you shut it down, it didn't work. I will take the mantle of shutting down. And I'm going to shut it down for border security.
But we believe you shouldn't shut it down.
President Trump wants $5 billion for a border wall. The Democrats are only offering $1.3 for border security. If no deal is reached, the federal government's funding will run out on December 21st, triggering a partial shutdown. A federal judge has ordered porn star Stormy Daniels to pay President Trump's lawyers more than $293,000 for attorney's fees in her defamation suit against the president after the case was dismissed in October. Mr. Trump's lawyers had asked for nearly $780,000. It is important to note this is not part of the primary lawsuit involving her non-disclosure agreement with the president.
A local recovery center is taking a new approach to treating opioid addiction, a first-of-its-kind program in the area. Our Keely Arthur joins us in the news center with the details here. Keely?
Well, Tellurian, a nonprofit in Dane County, is adding a new weapon in the fight against opioid addiction: recovery coaching. Now, the recovery coach is often a person who has dealt firsthand with addiction and literally coaches clients on how to overcome it, connecting the client to recovery services like family support groups and other recovery-based community resources. And it also takes a boots-on-the-ground approach.
We're meeting clients where they're at. We're meeting them in the community. We're meeting them when maybe their motivation is really low. And being able to have that recovery coach in that environment gives them that opportunity, again, to see that recovery is a reality.
The recovery coach is just one part of Tellurian's medication-assisted treatment program, which provides medicine for individuals struggling with opioid addiction. Now, if you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, seek help. Go to Tellurian.org.
News 3's Keely Arthur in the news center tonight. Keely, thank you.
Still ahead tonight, an update on tomorrow morning's alert day. We'll have a closer look at the winter weather advisory.
Plus, an area family getting into the holiday spirit with a little creativity. We'll show you how. Stay with us. Time magazine has chosen The Guardians, a group of journalists who have been targeted for their work as its Persons of the Year.
A series of 4 black and white covers highlight what the magazine calls the war on truth. The group includes Jamal Khashoggi, the Washington Post contributor who was killed at the Saudi Arabian consulate in Istanbul in October. This is the first time that a Person of the Year is deceased. The Milwaukee Bucks are helping families in our area. The team is donating free meals to the kids who participate in the after-school program at Goodman Community Center. The team's mascot, Bango, stopped by the Goodman Center to help hand out the food. This is part of a bigger initiative with Cousins Subs. Over the past couple of years, Cousins and the Bucks have donated more than 14,000 pounds of food and more than $50,000 to emergency food pantries.
Hundreds of pieces of clothing are tied to trees throughout Milwaukee's city parks. It's part of Operation Scarf, now in its 4th year. Scarves, mittens, gloves, and hats look almost like ornaments on Christmas trees, but these aren't decorations. They will help keep needy men, women, and children warm throughout the cold Wisconsin winter. The Southwest commuter path will be closed several days this week for tree removal. Today, the bike path closed between Commonwealth Avenue and Glenway Street. Tomorrow, it'll be closed between Glenway and Odana Road. Thursday, it'll be closed between Odana and Midvale Boulevard. And on Friday, between Midvale and the Beltline, there will be signed detours in place during each of those closures. A unique holiday display at a home in Lodi is gaining a lot of attention online.
This mannequin display imitating scenes from A Christmas Story and Christmas Vacation is a real head turner this season. The owners say this is only their 2nd year doing this, and they never expected this display to get this much attention, but says it's had positive feedback so far. Neighbors say it's brought more traffic to the area as people stop by to take pictures.
Last year it was just the mannequin, and a few days ago he hauled in, that was his dad's old camper, and put that. So now the scene is much more complete.
Police have even taken advantage of the display as an effective way to prevent people stealing packages through a Porch Pirate Awareness Facebook post. Well, it was 8 years ago today, the blizzard of 2010. Widespread snowfall of 8 to 14 inches with wind gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour impacting central and northeast Wisconsin over a 2-day period. Madison picked up about 9 inches of snow, but this storm was a record breaker for Wausau, receiving 13.5 inches of snow.
And that is not the concern tomorrow, thankfully, but it is an alert day, and Gary tells us what we need to be concerned about. Gary?
Sometimes it's not the amount of snow, it's when it occurs and also what occurs with it. And we do have that alert day in the forecast for tomorrow because of light snow to 1 inch, which normally wouldn't be too big of an impact, but some freezing rain is possible also with the snow, and that could lead to slippery road surfaces at least through the morning hours before the precipitation comes to an end. Snowfall potential, the very latest computer model update from the RPM computer model, about a 1/2 inch in Madison, still about 2 inches in La Crosse, maybe the far northern parts of our viewing area up north of Wisconsin Dells might see 1 inch or 2 of snow. The farther south you go, the lesser the amounts will be, but the greater the chances there'll be a little bit more in the way of freezing rain for a time. So winter weather advisories are in effect from tomorrow, early tomorrow morning through noon tomorrow for central and southern Wisconsin as well as eastern Iowa and much of northern Illinois. Right now the precipitation most widespread across western Minnesota, but it is starting to break out a little bit more across parts of central and northern Iowa, and some flurries already starting to develop in central Wisconsin, but right now southern Wisconsin is free of precipitation. Live view from the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison. Skies have clouded up. Our low this morning dropped to 17 degrees. Our high temperature made it just above freezing to 33, but you can see how close we were to the normals of 31 and 17. We're 25 now with mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures have gone up about 2 degrees in the last hour thanks to a southeasterly breeze at 10 miles per hour. Wind chill is at 15 degrees. Those temperatures may even rise a couple more degrees before all is said and done late tonight. Snow on the ground, still several inches to about 1/2 foot through parts of northwestern Wisconsin, southern Minnesota, northern Iowa. That's the area that has stayed coldest. You can see high temperatures today again over that snow cover, mainly in the 20s, whereas far southern Wisconsin, very little of snow on the ground. Temperatures made it up into the lower 30s. And current temperatures are now around freezing in Dubuque, Iowa, while they're still in the mid-20s here in Madison. It's that warm air aloft that's going over the colder air near the ground that could set up the potential for some freezing rain. rain. Notice the upper level winds from the southwest, so that brings in the warmer air aloft while the temperatures near the ground stay relatively cold, and that'll be the case at least through the morning hours, but this weather system should move through pretty quickly. The bulk of the precipitation will be from about 3 a.m. through about noon tomorrow. The main area of low pressure in western Iowa, most of the precipitation right now to the north of that storm system. Temperatures 20s and 30s here, some 40s farther to the south, even 50s by the time you get into parts of southern Missouri. So again, winter weather advisory in effect 3 a.m. through noon tomorrow for Dane County and areas to the south and west, 6 a.m. to noon for areas north and east of Dane County. Temperatures by morning around 27, some light snow, light freezing rain developing late. Tomorrow's high 34, light snow in the morning, maybe mixed in with some freezing rain and up to about an inch of accumulation. On future tracking, you can see that precipitation breaking out late tonight. Look at how quickly it moves through. By 3 p.m. or by noon, most of it's already to the east of us. By 3 p.m., pretty much gone. Then for tomorrow night, look for cloudy skies, and the clouds will linger into Thursday. The next batch of precipitation will reach us Thursday night. High temperatures on Thursday will be in the mid to upper 30s. Snowfall amounts, again, an inch or less through much of southern Wisconsin. 7 to 10 day forecast. Those temperatures on the mild side for this time of year, not terribly mild, but still upper 30s. A little drop in the temperatures early next week, but then you can see back into the mid 30s. Just a chance for some flurries in the Wednesday through Thursday time period. That's good news right before the Christmas holiday.
Yeah, for travel purposes, indeed.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. A lot of things need to happen for the Packers to make the playoffs, but what is Joe Philbin focused on? We'll have that story just ahead in sports.
Well, a few things at stake this Sunday when the Packers head to Soldier Field to face the division-leading Bears. Chicago could win the NFC North if they beat the Packers, and quite a few things have to happen for the remainder of the regular season if the Packers want to make the playoffs. But the most important thing, what they can control. Green Bay has to win out in these next 3 games, and the Packers have not won a single game on the road this year. And interim head coach Joe Philbin focused on playing well at Soldier Field on Sunday.
Right now, we've got. I mean, this is an awful good football team that we're going in to play. We haven't had the type of success on the road that we need to have as a football team. So really, we're just beginning our, personally myself, just beginning the preparation for Chicago here. That's really all we're focused on right now.
Well, the Badgers are in action next on Thursday, hosting Savannah State. The Tigers lost to South Dakota State tonight, 139-72. I'm not kidding there, 139-72. Now, free throws have not been Ethan Happ's best friend this season. He's shooting 42% from the line. While the Badgers as a whole, they're shooting 67%, slightly better than their opponents at 65%. Now, Happ's numbers aren't for lack of effort. He shoots an endless number of them at the end of every practice. So what else does he do? Just listen to the coaches.
Obviously, you want to do the same thing every time, but just being comfortable being uncomfortable. Coach puts situations a lot where if we miss it, the whole team has to run, or if we miss it, we got to go do 5 crunches or whatever it is, and puts a little bit of pressure on you that way. And I think that's the only thing a coach really can do is try and put us in those situations.
Some accolades for both Wisconsin hockey teams. First off, Badgers women's hockey standout Annie Pankowski earning the title of WCHA Forward of the Week today. The senior scored 3 goals against St. Cloud State last weekend. Pankowski has now scored in 7 straight games for Wisconsin. That's the third longest streak in program history. And on the men's side, right wing Sean Doogie earning the Big Ten's first star this week. The sophomore scored a power play goal in the series sweep against Michigan State last weekend. He also had an assist in both of those games. Now, this is the 2nd week in a row that the Badgers have won the conference's first star. Last week, Keandre Miller earned that honor. And finally tonight, upset in college basketball. Penn upsetting 17th-ranked Villanova at the Palestra in Philadelphia. The Wildcats are also the defending national champions. But the Quakers, they haven't lost a game at home this season. This is Villanova's 3rd loss this year. The Wildcats also lost to then 18th-ranked Michigan and Furman. It's the first time since 2002 that Penn beat Villanova. We'll be right back.
Maybe the weather will keep Savannah State away. They won't have to play the Badgers, and so that could be ugly.
They could be the hundreds, too.
But travel could be a little treacherous.
Yeah, we got that alert day in the forecast for tomorrow. We have a winter weather advisory for much of all of southern Wisconsin through noon tomorrow. Look for a mix of precipitation tomorrow morning, and then again late Thursday into Thursday night and early Friday. After that, the weather looks pretty quiet, and temperature is actually not bad for this time of year.
Gary, thank you. And thanks for joining us at 10.
Do something good, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.